Hello there, Alex here, working on the October pages in my nature journal today. First I need to take a look in the press. It's December now, but a few months ago I started pressing the autumn leaves, from the beginning of October through November. We have white poplar leaves. You see the wonderful white backs and the lovely yellow on the other side. We've also got wonderful acer leaves, and here some sweet chestnut that's kept a wonderful yellow colour in the press. I've also got these Virginia creeper leaves from the garden. They're excellent for a bit of extra autumn colour. And they press very well, they've come out very flat and dry. All of these I'm going to be using in my nature journal this month to really get an autumnal feel to October's pages. Just taking them all out from the press, because I expect to be using quite a lot of these this month. There's also some that I've kept here in the envelope. These ones didn't get pressed, I just dried them out and let them crinkle up a little bit. These ones are a bit more textured than the ones that have been in the press, and some of them have broken a little bit, but they keep their colours very well. You can see this lovely yellow. So let's start. I've got to do a title page first for October. First thing I'm doing is just making the title on this sort of bookmark, and then I've got to decide where to put these leaves. I'm quickly stumbling on a design I quite like. Just got to write out all of the numbers, so a number for each date of the month. And then I've got to infill all of this weather information that I've been keeping here in this separate book. I'll talk about this book and what I use it for a bit later in the video. So copying all of that weather information takes a little while to do. And then all of the mood information, these little energy bars, they help me keep track of my energy levels through the month. I really like these stapler markers. This one's in a gold, and I've also got a silver one as well that I use for the rain clouds. October was a month with quite a bit of varied weather, a bit of rain and a bit of sunshine. I'm just writing all of that out here. Now I need to get these leaves glued in. Just placing them how I want them. Sticking them down with glue and a little bit of tape. This one I've coated the back of the leaf with EVA glue. I'm going to add the bit of tape here. And then I just paint over it with some more glue. It's going to help preserve that leaf and gives it a nice sheen as well. It might take a few layers. And now the last touch is just to paint some colour into this title. I chose a nice dark blue to complement the background of this page. I quite like how this title page has turned out. I especially like how this ginkgo leaf looks against the wonderful indigo background. This is stuck down very well as well. Actually, the texture of this is really beautiful. So I think I'm going to move on to another page. I keep a separate book here. I keep all of my lists in about what I'm doing in my business as well and everything else, but I've also got the old weather lists here from months where I got a little bit behind. So down here on the bottom I've got ideas about what I might put on these pages, and then I've also got here a list of all the pages that I've got to do this month and then what I think I'm going to put. So I've written out my vague ideas over here and then brought that into a more concrete plan over here, and then up here I have my to-do list, so ignore that. I'm going to work on this page today. I'm going to make a page based on the leaves that I have here and my photographs from my visit to Westonbirt Arboretum. I was there for an art sales event. In between manning the sales desk and all the rest of that, I was going out into the Arboretum to see the birds and to take photographs, and also to gather all of these leaves here that you can see. So based on all of that, I'm now going to make a new page. First off, to go behind the collage that I'm going to make with the leaves, I just need to make a background. I'm trying to get an effect of looking up at the sky through the branches of a tree, and of course the tree is in full autumn colour. So first I need to put the branches in, and then I've just got to put some distant leaves in that you'll be able to see past anywhere where I've left gaps in my collage over the top. Really want some nice vibrant colour. And then also putting in the sky behind too. For all of this I'm using Derwent Inktense, my favourite ink brand. I'm going to be looking at Derwent Inktense a lot more next year on YouTube and also in my courses, which you can find on Patreon. Adding a bit of green here. Some more background. And then more of that bright blue sky. So much time spent in October just being outdoors and looking up at the sky through the trees, and I really want to capture all of those moments in this page. I don't know about you, but I find it's quite a difficult month in October. Things are getting darker and slower, and it's a little bit harder to get out and to feel motivated. But there's a lot of beauty to be found in October too. All of these wonderful leaves, for example. I'm using scissors to cut them out. I thought I can use some of these white poplar leaves to embellish the background, just putting it into some of the gaps between the branches that I've drawn. How did you find autumn this year, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere? Give me a message, let me know. I love to hear about your autumn in the comments. I'm trying to catch up through my nature journal, so I'm kind of a few months behind. But this month you'll definitely see me catching up a lot faster. Now that I've got it how I want it, I needed to take a quick photo just to make sure that everything's in the right position. I really recommend doing this because when you're doing collage, it's very easy to lose track of your layout and end up doing something completely different as you take your pieces of paper off, ready to glue them on. So this is a method that I've developed to try and avoid that happening. It's a slow process. It's slowly building up layers and layers of glue, letting the leaves layer up on top of each other, and I'm letting little bits of this dry in between as well. Do you like using collage? It's something I've been doing a lot more this year, and I really enjoy the way it looks against this thick watercolour paper and against the bright colours of the ink. Hopefully seeing this will inspire you to try a little bit of autumn collage yourself. And as you saw earlier, you don't have to use a flower press. You can just gather some leaves, maybe put them in the back of a book, and then cut them up and use them how you want to. I just want to show you this now. This is after a few days. You see it's built up a kind of sheen where I've put the glue over the top. And it's perfectly dry, but it sort of has a wet look to it. I'm protecting this page with a little bit of tracing paper. I'm just putting that in between. Just because it's so bulked up and I don't want any of these leaves to stick together in any way. I don't think they will. I think they probably would be okay. But just to be sure, I'm going to slide this into here. I want to show you this page too. This is one that I've just been working on off camera. I've got some of the garden birds from the holiday that I had. We were staying in this cottage that had a beautiful woodland as the back garden, and I was out photographing these birds every morning. And also these wonderful waterfalls. So these birds and these waterfalls I'm going to show you in this little interlude video now. It's just some music, just the footage and some relaxing music. I really hope you enjoy it. And while you're watching that, I'm just going to finish off the last touches on this painting. I'm just finishing off my painting now, just adding a little bit more contrast. I really hope you enjoyed the video of my holiday. The little caterpillar there that was at the end, that was a pale tussock moth caterpillar, and I was paddling in the river and I just found it, walking along on one of the rocks in the middle. I don't know how it got there, but it was going to get very wet if it kept going in the direction it was going. Here we are, one finished page. I think it captures some of those memories shown in that video quite well. Another day and another page. Again, I'm thinking about Wales. And I want to create an image that shows the layering of the hills when you stand high up in Wales and you look down into the valleys and the hills just seem to stretch on forever into the horizon. That's what I kind of want to create here. I'm using Derwent Inktense again, but I'm watering it down quite a lot most of the time. Derwent Inktense, it's very punchy, it's got very bright, vibrant colours. But if you use a lot of water with it, or if you use a little bit of white in it, you can really bring it down to make some subtle colours. It can even be brought to some nice, soft, subtle and pastel-y backgrounds. It just takes a bit of experimentation. In this video I'm using a studio set, letting that dry and then trying to layer over it with some more contrast. I like to build up from subtle and then add more contrast over the top. One really nice thing about using ink is that you can continue to layer and layer. Once the ink dries, it's permanent, and you can just go over the top like you would in coloured pencil or acrylic. It's much easier to use than watercolour. You can see I've gone over these areas several times now, each time just blending them a little more and making them a little darker, letting some areas stay just as pale as they were at the beginning when I first started doing this page. I don't want to do too much more to it. Each of these little paintings only takes me about maybe an hour, but with a little bit of drying time added too. And this is what it looks like when it's dry. It's a wonderful memory to keep. Now finally I'm going to work on these. This is a page of all the fungi that I've seen this month. I'm starting out again, putting the lines in first. This time I'm using a Derwent line maker. If you like this process that you see in this part of the video, this is what I've been teaching in the paint along tutorials on my Patreon. So if you want to see more of this and learn a bit more about how to do it, and also see a couple of the pages that I've shown only in these paint along tutorials, go and check out my Patreon, the link is in the description below. This is my favourite part, putting in the thicker lines. I talk a lot about using thin and thick lines in the latest paint along tutorial that I've posted on Patreon. And by the way, next year I'm also going to be going on to Skillshare. I'll be doing longer nature journaling tutorials and those broken down into units, and they'll be available both on Skillshare and on my Patreon. Now once more using my inks to fill in a bit more colour. This time for this I'm trying to keep it wet so I can blend the colours together and give it a nice smooth appearance. For Derwent Inktense you have to use quite a lot of water to keep it wet, and it also depends on how warm your room is as well. It's very cold in my studio at the moment, so the paint's staying wetter for longer, and sometimes that's quite helpful. I saw quite a lot of fungi through October, finally after the drought that we had in the UK in the summer. We had quite a bit of rain and the fungi were able to break the soil and send up their fruiting bodies. I particularly enjoyed finding this fly agaric, and it's such a wonderful toadstool to paint. These wonderful bright red and orange colours. I mix in a little bit of white here to soften it where the reflection is. That's where the light's hitting the top of this mushroom. It really gives it a 3D lifelike look. I'm using quite a bit of orange on these. Again, using white to give them that 3D look. It's keeping an eye on my reference images where the light's coming from. I really hope you've enjoyed watching me create these pages. I've got 2 months left to do in this journal, and I'm going to try and finish them over the next few weeks. Next year I'll be starting a whole new journal, and I'll be sharing my nature journaling with you here on YouTube in a slightly different way. More on that to come. But I really hope you'll subscribe to the channel so you're ready for all of these new videos that are coming in the new year. And let me just show you what's been done through this month in this journal, so you can see the page that was left out for the Patreon tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Next time I'll be creating my November pages in the journal. Be sure to leave me a like so that the video can reach more people. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.